guys, like this episode was stressful. And that fight, it was like from zero to hero all of a sudden. And guys, that particular fight between Miriam and Diadem was just a lot. At some point, I thought it was going to be a physical thing, and I was glad that it did not get to that point. Yes, but I mean, the fight was so intense. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Guzzy and this is Chat with Guzzy. Please, if you're yet to subscribe, kindly click on the subscription button and click on notification bell so you can get notified whenever I post any new video. On this particular video, we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Lagos Season 3, Episode 11. Yes, and this episode was a lot. Yes, guys, I mean, before I talk about that fight, so you guys understand, let's paint a background to that fight. Yes, so you guys get to understand what happened. And then I'll ask my questions for this video after I have painted this scenario, so you guys get to understand my train of thought here. So Caroline had called Diadem. And for Caroline, she's calling Diadem because, I mean, she has spoken with Laura, she has spoken with Miriam, she has spoken with Sophia. And these ladies kept on telling her that she should reach out to Diadem, she should speak with Diadem. And basically, whatever issues she has with dabota is different from Diadem, right? So she had called Diadem. And Diadem had seen that call. Yes. Diadem has stated that, I mean, when she saw the call, she felt like, why would Caroline be calling her? I mean, both of them have not spoken since that whole Ghana trip. Yes. And she doesn't want to talk about anything Ghana. She doesn't want all that energy in her space. Yes. So instead, she ignored Caroline's call. And after she had ignored Caroline's call, when the call had ended, she proceeded to send in a text message as against picking up Caroline's call to actually know why Caroline was calling her. Now, Caroline felt like, oh, she saw the call and decided not to pick up. And she's sending me a text. Now, for Caroline, that was rude. Yes. And now, this same Diadem was having an event. Yes, a sip and paint with all the ladies. Yes. And, I mean, that was where all hell broke loose.
It drew me, but I am naturally too much. You are very stupid. You're mad.
So guys, the ladies had arrived one by one. The first person to arrive was Sophia. Yes. And Sophia was trying to talk to Diadem about Caroline. Yes. And she was telling Diadem that Caroline has never spoken bad about you. At least in my presence, she has never spoken bad about you. I think this is just a little misunderstanding that you both have and you guys can sort it out. But baby girl Diadem had shut down the conversation. Yes, she stated that she did not want to talk about it. Yes, and I liked the fact that in this particular episode, unlike how Sophia had pushed, the whole Caroline and dabota situation, Sophia had respected that whole situation and she had locked up. Yeah, she did not talk about it anymore. She dropped the matter. And then we saw dabota come in. All the ladies were still having good vibes and all that. Yes, and then finally Laura came in. Now when Laura came in, Laura had greeted the ladies as usual, and then she had brought up this whole Caroline's matter. Yes, this guy, why is Caroline not here and all? Now, the same thing that had happened when Sophia had brought up the issue. I mean, dabota had shut the conversation down. Now for her, she did not want to talk about it and all. Laura went ahead and messaged Caroline, this kind asking her why she did not come for the event, because it is obvious that them had invited her, so why did she not come? And through the text, that was when Laura understood that according to Caroline felt offended and felt like Diadem was rude to her. So she had said it that Caroline said you were rude to her and that's why she's not here and all that. And in defense, dabota was like, am I a rude person? And to that, Laura had said, you are not rude to me. And she was like, okay, am I generally a rude person? This one you're saying to you. And that was when Laura explained something. Laura said, we are on good vibes, so no, you're not rude to me. But then, if I and someone are not in good terms, I can be rude to that person. So both of us, we are cool, so no rudeness here. You understand, ba? Diadem has stated that no, she's not a rude person, yada yada yada, and she had said, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring in bad energy. Basically, baby girl was avoiding talking about it. Now, Laura in her confessionals has stated that, I mean, you don't invite people and then dictate what they can talk about and what they cannot talk about. But then again, she has stated that, I mean, it's Diola, yes, it's Diadem, so she respects her, yes, and she's going to leave it as that. Since she doesn't want to talk about it, she's going to leave it at that, yes, and she had respected Diadem and had simply dropped the matter. Yes, you guys know that Dabota and Caroline are not cool, and it doesn't look like they'll be cool anytime soon. So Dabota had stated that she was leaving. Yes, in her confessional, she stated that they had started talking about Caroline. And so, at that point in time, she was done with that whole sipapate. Plus, she has a date that she's going for, and she would rather be there than be here listening to talk about Caroline. Yes, guys. And then she had gone. It was as she was leaving that Miriam arrived. And Miriam had stated that, I mean, she had seen Dabota outside, that Dabota was leaving. However, where is Caroline? Now, at that point, we had seen that Diadem was even telling her that, how are you? This kind trying to divert the whole thing. This kind, how are you? How are you doing? This kind greets me first kind of behavior, you get. And then Miriam was like, where is Caroline? You invited her and she's not here. It's wrong. This guy, let me call her. And Dabota was trying to tell her that she's busy now. She did not come. So she's busy. You understand this type of thing? Whereas, you guys know that before then, Diadem knew that Caroline was not going to come again because of what Laura had told her, that Caroline said that she's not coming because Diadem was rude to her. Now, at that point in time, Laura decided to chip in, and Laura was like, so Caroline is not coming because they had their own issue. You understand? And Diadem does not want to talk about it, giving the hint that, not do this thing where you want to. Pipe low. For where Miriam decided that, why would Caroline not be here? And we know that, yes, throughout this season, whenever someone is not around, for example, when Laura was not in attendance during Dabota's event, yes, her staycation, it was actually Miriam that called, yes, to find out why she was not there. So Miriam had done the same thing. And then again, when she did it that time, she had also put the call on speaker. Yes. So she went ahead to do it again this particular time. And she had put the call on speaker. And baby girl Miriam had asked Caroline, this guy, how far are you doing? Two of them had greeted themselves, chummy and all that. And she was like, why are you not here? And Caroline was like, she's where she needs to be. She's at her meeting. Where should she have been? And Miriam is like, this guy, there's an event now. At that point in time, we had seen that Dabota's confessional was a lot. Carrying broom, talking about how she would have swept waiting be her name, Miriam, away. Now, bad energy she carry come. Now, that part for me was very hilarious. I mean, Diadem's confessionals are just very, very hilarious. Well, the call was on speaker, and after Miriam and Caroline had spoken, they greeted each other. I mean, Miriam has stated that, what happened? I am at Diadem's event right now, and I cannot see you. Where are you? And Caroline had responded saying, what's my business with that one? And at that point, that was it. Yes, I mean, Diadem was offended, and Diadem was like, can we please stop this? You know, this kind, stop this. I don't want this. You understand that type of thing? She was already getting agitated. And before we knew, guys, it went from 0 to 100 real quick. Yes. And Diadem, she just felt like, why would you be calling Caroline? I told you not to. I told you I don't want to talk about this. And you kept on pushing. I don't want this. In fact, she feels like Caroline and Miriam are bullies, yes, and they are bullying her. Miriam is a gossip, and basically she and Caroline have been gossiping her. I mean, a lot were said, you're mad, you're stupid, a lot were said. And at some point, these ladies, they were at each other's face, yes. At some point, Miriam was telling Diadem, if you put your finger at me again, I'm going to slap you. Yes, as in, it was that bad. And I'm like, sorry, Miriam. Is this not the same you that when you had an altercation or a fight, with Toyin, Tiana Empire, you spoke about how, I mean, issues can be resolved by words instead of going physical. So why are you the first person threatening to go physical? For me, it doesn't just make sense. Also, I feel like this is a situation of kettle calling pot black here. Because this is the same Miriam, even after the fight, she was explaining herself to Laura and Sophia, and she was talking about how Diadem is putting herself in the fight between Caroline and Dabota. I feel like in a way, without her knowing, she has put herself in the fight between Diadem and Caroline. So Diadem was actually right when she said that Miriam is doing the same thing she's accusing her of doing. Yes, because and for Miriam, I understand Miriam. Miriam justified her actions, yes, because according to her, and I'm grateful that Miriam made this revelation because we for no know from where to where. Yes. So apparently when they were in Ghana, according to Miriam, Miriam had spoken with Diadem and I told Diadem that she should give Caroline grace. She should speak with Caroline and know where Caroline is coming from and all that. And as they were just having that conversation, it wasn't long. Caroline had come out of her room and Diadem was hyping Caroline. Yes, telling how you're beautiful, you understand? So in her head, she felt like, okay, they have resolved their issues. You get? And she felt like that was what prompted Caroline to even recommend her business, to even tell the lady that had come about Dabota's business. So it wasn't like that was just out of the blues. So I feel like even Caroline, at that point in time, she felt like, okay, she and Diadem were kind of in good terms, or yeah, they were trying to get there. And that was why she did that good gesture that Diadem was not having. Now, that had already been done. And we all know how Diadem had reacted to that in her confessionals. And we can see how Diadem had also refused picking Caroline's call. Caroline called twice and she had replied Caroline with a text. And let me read out what I can see from the text. She said, Carol, I'm guessing you are calling because of the other night. And truth is, I don't want to revisit what happened anymore. I've made my peace with the situation and don't want to dwell in the past. I want to keep being positive about life because that's who I am. I appreciate you want to air your views on the past, but I'm not mentally ready to revisit that place. I'm happy to have positive conversations about the future if you want to discuss. Thanks. This was the text. And you guys know that Caroline wanted to talk about the issue and all that. And Caroline honestly felt this was rude. Yes, because for Caroline, she's stretching a hand of friendship to her. She's stretching a hand, wanting to settle things, wanting to talk about things. And she felt like Diadem just blew her off like that. And Diadem refused picking her call purposely. Yes, and that was why Caroline refused coming for Diadem's event. Well, the same thing I said about Sophia for that whole Dabota's and Caroline's fight is the same thing I would say about Miriam. Yes, Miriam was too pushy. Miriam refused to drop the conversation. She should have read the room and she should have taken the hint and everything from Laura, from the Diadem herself, and she shouldn't have kept on pushing. And even if she wanted to make that call, she should have stepped aside, or she shouldn't have put the call on speakerphone so that everybody on the table hears the conversation, knowing fully well that there is tension between them, and knowing fully well that, okay, for her, there is no tension because of what she had explained. But then again, I mean, Laura just told you that Miriam had said she was not coming for the event because something had happened between them. So you heard that and you still put the call on speaker. What were you trying to achieve? Yeah, so you saw what you were aiming for. You see, you use your head carrying. That's that on that. Yes. So guys, do you feel like Miriam is doing the same thing that she's accusing Diadem of doing? I feel like in a way, yes, she's doing the same thing that she's accusing Diadem of doing. She's doing the same thing because it now looks like she's fighting Caroline's fight. Yes, that's the way I see it. And do I feel like Diadem overreacted? In a way, I would say yes, Diadem overreacted. Like it was from zero to hero all of a sudden. Before we knew it, insults were flying and all that. For me, this fight could have been avoided. This fight would have been avoided. But I mean, I feel like in a way, both ladies don't get each other for mind. So they just needed a small trigger to just let that loose. Yes, that's how I feel about this fight that happened between Miriam and Diadem. And guys, you guys know that Miriam can be very petty. And Miriam is already talking about how she's going to bring out her petty side, yada yada yada. Unfortunately for her, Diadem is right at that junction with her. Yes, because in the next episode, we can see that Diadem is wearing a shirt of a raccoon. Yes, a raccoon with a stinky attitude. Yes, guys. she's wearing that shirt. And in case you don't know what she's trying to pass on wearing that shirt, remember in season 2, Faith Murray had called Miriam a raccoon. Hey, when you think you are messy, I'm just waiting for this next episode because it's going to be filled with messiness. Yes, and it's going to be filled with pettiness. I mean, let's see who is more petty between Miriam and Diiadem because it's going to be a lot. Moving from that, this whole Dabota and Caroline's fight, Otisumi, I'm tired of it. And I feel like there are more things that we don't know of. I said this in my last video. So seeing these ladies showing their receipts and all that, I'm like, there's more to this than beats the eyes. There's more to this that we don't know. Yes, Caroline was showing her receipt to Laura and talking about the whole situation. Dabota, on the other hand, was showing her receipts to Miriam and talking about the issue from her own point of view. I think these ladies, it is clear that both parties don't want to let go. Yes, and actually, I feel like Caroline and Dabota sitting down to talk about things for it to actually reach a headway. He needs to be involved in that conversation so that they trash things out. Yes, because this whole thing is not a direct fight to Dabota, but one to Ehi. And it is a fight that has been inherited. So I feel like if it's ever going to be resolved, these three parties need to sit and talk. But until then, until we get more receipts and more clearance on this particular issue, I feel like there are more things that beats the eye in this their matter. Yes, guys, that's all I have for you guys on this particular episode. That's all I have for you guys on this particular video. Guys, do not forget that if you have a business that you want to register, an NGO or a company, I'm your girl. I do CSC registrations. I do everything CSC, both pre-incorporation and post-incorporation. That's all I have for you guys on this particular video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for always being here. Thanks for supporting me. Bye, guys.